Godzilla, the king of monsters, the thermonuclear beast that's been around since 1954. I friggin' love Godzilla. He's my favorite kaiju ever. Kaiju is giant monster in Japanese, although if Gamera had more movies, he'd take the top spot. I mean, come on, it's a friggin' giant turtle that can fly and breathe fire. Fun fact, despite being two of the most famous kaijus in Japan, Godzilla and Gamera never had a crossover. Ugh, the things I would do to see those two fight or team up in a movie. Anyway, getting off topic here, Godzilla is a massive multimedia franchise from Japan about a kaiju that terrorizes the country, serving as the metaphorical embodiment of nuclear weapons during the time of war. Later, though, he became more of a protector rather than a destroyer of Japan, fighting off other kaijus and saving people and the country in the process. Godzilla became so popular that he spawned countless films and even had multiple Western adaptations. One of which is the topic of this video, Godzilla 1998. Wow, that sounded like Resident Evil. But for convenience sake and to avoid confusion, I'm gonna call this movie Zilla. Why Zilla? This movie was so bad that the original Godzilla film series included the American Godzilla just so that the original Godzilla can kill off Zilla. The main Godzilla films thereafter dubbed this Godzilla as Zilla. But even if Zilla wasn't a good movie, I always had a lot of fun watching it as a kid. It always had a special place in my childhood. That's why it's a guilty pleasure to me. So what's the movie about? Pretty much the usual premise of the mainline Godzilla films. A giant monster attacks a place, authorities start investigating the strange occurrences, giant monster attacks another place, and people now recognize the humongous threat they are facing. Now it's up to the military to kill the giant unstoppable monster. They fail, scientists find a way to stop the monster, scientists succeed, but at what cost? Yada yada, film series, and so on. What's the difference though? The difference is this movie has Matthew Broderick and John Reno. What could go wrong? Well, Zilla, while fundamentally being the same movie as its predecessors, is drastically different. The biggest change would be Zilla's design itself. It's a smaller, leaner, quadrupedal-looking monster that moved fast rather than the original, which had a heavy bipedal build and moved slowly like a tank. Zilla had the speed advantage, but Godzilla is more built to take a hit rather than dodge it. Godzilla is pretty much indestructible, while Zilla on the other hand died within a few missile hits. Bada bing bada boom. Okay, I'm nerding out. Is this a Zilla review or a Godzilla biological analysis? Moving on. I think the reason why they decided to use a new, completely different monster design is because of the Jurassic Park hype back in the 90s. A huge part of the movie's finale was trying so hard to rip off Jurassic Park raptors. I mean, just look at that. They're not even trying to hide it. It's the frigging same as the raptor sequence in Jurassic Park. There's even an ad for the movie that's so on the nose. Just look at it.
Tyrannosaurus rex, about 70 million years ago. Its long skull was equipped with powerful jaws in which were set sharp, doubly serrated teeth. Weighing more than 4 metric tons and averaging 19 feet in height, this creature was believed to be one of the largest predators who ever lived on our planet.
But to be fair, this is one of the better, higher budget ripoffs. I'm looking at you, Carnosaur. Also, another fun fact, Carnosaur came out in the theaters before Jurassic Park, but it's still considered a ripoff? I don't know. Anyway, speaking of the raptors, another thing that sets this movie apart from Godzilla are the inclusion of dumbass Jurassic Park raptors. See, in the movie, Zilla is pregnant, so I guess it's a she? Yeah, I don't know. The movie's explanation is that Zilla reproduces asexually. So it laid like 100 eggs that will hatch into more Zillas that can also reproduce asexually. So other than the military trying to kill the Mama Zilla, the main human characters are trying to find a way to destroy those eggs before they hatch and invade the world and become the dominant species. I mean, to be honest, the world being rolled over by giant lizards, not a bad prospect. I'm sorry, I'm a huge dinosaur fan. Even though the movie blatantly takes a lot from Jurassic Park, I still found it very fun. Every now and then I would watch it and find myself enjoying it, regardless of nostalgia. I didn't find the characters annoying, I actually rooted for them, even though the dialogue was kind of cheesy, you know, the 90s kind of camp that gives it a certain charm. Except for the reporter lady, I think she was an asshole for just screwing over the main protagonist. Early in the film, they didn't outright show Zilla. It took a bit of time to build up her reveal, but it didn't make sense from a viewer's perspective, since most of Zilla's obscurity comes from the camera not showing much rather than being naturally hidden like in a fog or in darkness. The action was nice, but it was far from the usual Godzilla action set pieces because Zilla did more running and chasing rather than destroying, like in Jurassic Park. It's actually the humans that destroy a lot of the buildings, which is a theme that the movie tried to do but ended up forgetting about it halfway through. One weird thing though was the civilians in the film. They were featured during the beginning, then they're just gone. I mean, yeah, there was an evacuation, but it happened off screen. So some viewers might find it weird there aren't many civilian casualties in the film. I guess it was done to keep a low age rating. The movie looks okay for the most part. For a movie that came out from 1998, it's shot well enough. But then again, Jurassic Park came out 5 years earlier and the dinosaurs there looked miles better than Zilla or her babies in this movie. Let's just say the visuals are decent at best. So why is this movie hated by fans? Maybe because it did the worst thing it could do to Godzilla fans, putting Godzilla in the title. If this movie was titled anything else other than Godzilla, it would have been received better. But no, it had to live up to the expectations of all the fans, plus Jurassic Park fans were at the ready to demolish this movie. Everything was against this movie. Though commercially it did well, it was doomed to fail critically. It doesn't help that the movie itself is just below average at best. In the end, it's a popcorn flick that you can just turn your brain off and enjoy. I'll always recommend this movie to be a part of anyone's monster or kaiju movie marathon. And it's fun comparing it to Godzilla, especially when he kicked Zilla's ass in Godzilla Final Wars. Oh, and Zilla was supposed to have a sequel, but it was cancelled. Instead, it got an animated series that lasted 2 seasons. It was actually pretty good. I loved it as a kid. Another huge part of my childhood. Shit, man. I'm getting old. Anywho, if you haven't watched this movie and you like monster movies, give this one a try and I'll see you later.